Good morning. It's Todd Charles Dewshaw here on a report. As people know, I seek out the truth, and a lot of people tell me things, and in my travels I have a lot of conversation on all levels with the people, general population of Australia. Now, I've done some incredible research. It's very disappointing and heartbreaking and disgusting, and I'm just outstanded by it anyway. But anyway, what the government's been doing, Liberal and the Labor Party, that's what I've got this information on at the moment. It's been reported back in 2015 by Mike Seacom. He was on the Saturday paper on July the 4th on 2:15, and then we had Christopher Knaus, I think his name is, and Nick Evershed. Now that was Monday the 17th of September 2018. Now it's about their lobby groups. Now what the Liberal and Labor Party's been doing, they created these lobby groups back in I think it was about 2013 or so. Anyway, people can Google it. Just Google lobby groups, Labor and Liberal Party, and a lot of stuff will come up. Usually when you look for something, as you know, if you look for your car keys, you race around the house and you're trying to find those bloody car keys, and lo and behold, they're on your coffee table. So usually when you look for something, it's usually right under your nose, okay? As the Bible say, you seek it out and you shall find. And it's just a matter of delving into a few things and putting in the key words and so forth, and you'll come up trumps. Okay, well, I'll read this to you now. So with the glasses, I try and keep the glasses off when I'm on video, but I have to put them on. Comes with age, I guess. I'm 60 now, so we got to get on. Okay, so this is the Liberal and Labor and their evil twins. This article was more than 6 years ago, and Christopher Knaus and Nick Evershed shed light on things, I guess, isn't it? Now, that was the 17th of September 2018. Australia's lax lobbying regime, the domain of party powerbrokers. Private interests are represented by ex-politicians and staffers in a system with no independent enforcement. Big business is gaining almost unfettered access to the corridors of Australia's Parliament owing to an oversight regime that is weak, unenforced, is not transparent, and unable to keep track of the revolving door between lobbying and government. A big conflict of interest and a spot of corruption. Now that was through the Saturday paper, as I said. Correction. The last one was the other guys. Now this one is in the Saturday. This is a bigger story by Mike Seacom. How this wasn't picked up by the general public, I have no idea, but I've picked it up now. So I'm reporting the matter because I find it very, very, very disgusting, and heads are going to roll. Simple as that. This is just un-Australian, totally un-Australian, and my blood is boiling, maybe because I'm going back to my First Fleet roots and my ancestral line, which is, as I said, it's a capital J for justice. And this is why the whole judiciary has got to be overhauled and reformed. And inquiries, royal commissions, I don't care. We've got to get to the bottom of all this. It's bullshit. Okay? All right. I'm just going to read this one out. This is Mike Seacom on the 4th of the 10th, 2015. Hidden behind two of Australia's biggest lobbying firms is one company and an endless list of political links. Barton Deakin, the coalition's evil twin lobby firm. Now, don't worry, because Labor's got one too. We'll get the Labor's later on. This is the tip of the iceberg. and we'll be tracing the history now. It was on April Fool's Day. Told you. Fools. Why would you launch it on April Fool's Day? These people are just so arrogant. It just astounds me. It just seems... Anyway, April Fool's Day 1997, that a group of Labor Party staffers set out to change the way the political lobby and business operated in Australia. They determined not to be just another public relations company that also did some work with government. They'd be all politics all the time. Nor would they try to work both sides of the political street. A lot of lobbying outfits employ former politicians and political staffers, but try to spread their influence by having some of each side. Not these days. We were going to be totally partisan. I think it's partisan. So he's one of them. Former Keen Beazley staffer, Justin D. Lilo. All you have to do to become a lobbyist is fill out a form. There's no ethical check. We have a mistaken thinking lobbyists are an acceptable part of our democratic process. So was born Hawker Britton, named after its two principals, Bruce Hawker and David Britton. This is the Labor branch, obviously. The first, a former Chief of Staff to New South Wales Premier Bob Carr, and the second Carr's senior media advisor. Between them, the line between those in government and those seeking to influence it was further blurred. We are sometimes unkindly called the privatised wing of the Labor Party, says DeLillo. Unkind but not unfair. The business model proved to be very successful, and success encourages imitation. So now we have a Conservative equivalent named Barton Deacon, whose collection of party old boys is even more impressive, particularly as Hawker and Britton have since left the company that bears their name. Maybe they had a bit of a conscience. Or maybe they just made the money and decided to get out while the going was good. Because all this bad behaviour is coming to light. And we need to take action, and we will take action. And as I said, heads are going to roll. Okay, so where were we up to? If I'm repeating myself, just bear with it. The business model proved to be very successful, and success encourages imitation. Yes, I have read that. Okay, Hawker and Britton. It's unlikely there would be a Conservative politician in the country who would not welcome Morris if he knocked at the front door. Right. But let us return to the story of Hawker Britton, the originators of the partisan lobbying models. Hawker Britton people could not be described as ex-Labor or Labor-aligned lobbyists. They never stopped being party members. Big conflict of interest. They were, by turn, corporate advisors and party strategists, and often both at once. People move from positions with the party to positions with the firm. They move the other way too. 8 Hawker Britton staffer have gone on to sit as Labor parliamentarians. Sam Gistario, which we all know about, is one. Many more have become senior staffers. And by you, when one gets caught, when the heat comes on, they just pick out one person, they put him in the friggin' under the bus, give him a nice payout and be done with it, and it takes the heat off everyone else. That's how they operate. Okay, so we're on to Sam Gistario. He knows exactly who I am. So the journalists, if they'd like to go out and see Sam and do an interview on him, I'm sure he's going to mention my name. They are also big donors. Over the years, Hawker Britton has tipped several $100,000 into Labor coffers. So what is going on here? Basically, Labor owns these lobbyist groups. They hire them back. When Labor gets in, they hire theirs. When Liberal gets in, they hire theirs. And they employ all the ex-politicians and staffers back again. Now, does that make sense to you? I'm trying to put this in simple terms, and trust me, it's not good. It's not good. especially when they don't opaque. The money just goes around in a full circle. Oh my God. Okay, so the outfit spread from New South Wales to Queensland, then Victoria, then Western Australia and South Australia. So it's spreading like wildfire, so to speak. Contagious. Corruption is contagious. Big money in corruption. Money. Root of all evil. They can't help themselves. I don't know how rich they want to be when they die, but it's not going to help them. Okay, so, yeah, many more have become senior staffers. In each case, they worked on the campaigns, helped win the elections for Labor, and then set up office, drawing down the political capital they had built up as campaigners to help their clients. They were very successful. Why wouldn't they be? Pay me $180,000 a year and I'll advise you and be your lobbyist. This isn't just here in Australia. This is everywhere. This is all in the Western world. I think lobbyists originated in the 1800s or something, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just, it came up there and it's over in America too. So it's everywhere. It's just been abused. You can have a lobbyist, but be an independent lobbyist, you know. Okay, so set up, they were very successful. In marketing, they talk about category killers, says Lilo, or Lilo, Lollo. He's one we'd very much like to interview. And he's, we were category killers. We basically owned the jurisdiction when Labor was in government. The problem is that exactly the same thing which makes you the best company in town when there's a Labor government makes you the worst company in town when there's not a Labor government. They understood this from the start. New staff members were warned and still are warned that their jobs were contingent on election outcomes. When Labor lost, people were made redundant. We were prepared to go down with the ship, says DeLillo, which they'll be doing now. And I tell you what, when the ship goes down, the rats are the first to leave. They know I'm onto it, don't you worry. They know about me. Okay, so then we never even considered we'd want to keep our jobs. Hawker Britain's fully political business model also meant that for 10 long years after its establishment, while the Howard government held power, the firm had essentially no presence in Canberra. But we took over the market within weeks of Rudd winning government. And we all thought Rudd was a nice bloke. Well, they conned us, haven't they? When you go, Lotto says, and for a while we were a very happy state of having Labor governments wall to wall. Those were the days when across the nation Hawker Britain people would knock on just about any door in government and be assured the occupant would be receptive to them and their client. The same now goes for operatives from Barton Deakin. Just like the Labor firm, the Conservative one is a generous political donor. Over the past 5 years, according to the Australian Electoral Commission records, it has given $130,000 to the Liberal and National parties. No doubt they can afford it. These are good times for Barton Deakin with the Abbott government in Canberra and Mike Bart's coalition government utterly dominant in New South Wales. So this is where the Bard and when Tony Abbott. But trust me, nothing's changed. Only the faces change. And as I said, when these people leave government, they get into their lobby groups and get paid $140,000, $180,000, probably more. If we look into it and delve into it more, well, the worse it gets for them. But we've got to get rid of all this crapper. It's just crap. And they're taking the piss out of us and we're the constituents. Time to fight back. And here's the kicker. For they might appear to be natural enemies, Labor and Liberal, though they have no common staff and have separate listings with the corporate regulator, their two lobbying concerns share a couple of important things other than an operating model. First, clients. They regularly refer clients to one another. But second, and more importantly, they share an owner. The most politically connected company in Australia is one most people would never have heard of. Its name is STW Group, and it's Australia's largest marketing company. It owns about 75 businesses, PR firms, research companies, marketing, PR, web design, all manner of communications and content outfits, and political lobbyists. Apart from the two we've already detailed, there is one more big one, Parker and Partners, which is normally bipartisan. Well, they don't. They try and be by to it all, but is in reality more liberal connected. Tightening up rules of disclosure in each Hume, the diaries of ministers should be made available so we can see what ministers meet who and what they're doing behind closed doors. I mean, the government's a public outfit. Why is all this kept so much from the public? I don't know. That's what I mean. They're there to serve the general population, which is us. And all they're doing is serving themselves. And not just ministers, she points out, the backbenchers involved, MPs can also have powerful influence over government decisions. So can minor players on the crossbenchers, so can senior bureaucrats who also are targeted by lobbyists. So the whole bureaucratic system, the whole thing needs a total reform, overhaul, and we need to do major inquiries. The judiciary, we've got to set up the judiciary first on our terms, not their terms. They own all the judiciary. How many people are in jail that are innocent is astound a lot of people. It really would. Not just ministers at this point, yes, we know that. Now, Mark Ogue, Principal Advisor for a progressive think tank, the Australian Institute, reckons the mining industry spends about $50 million a year trying to buy influence. $50 million a year. $50 million, I'm sure that could go into roads and hospitals and, put it back in the infrastructure, facilities, canneries, refineries. Like, why did they destroy it all? We had it all. And they destroyed it in that Lima. That Lima, Gough Whitlam signed that back in the 70s. And that was the downfall of Australia, the globalists. Anyway, I'll go back to this. And most of that is done in-house, not by third-party lobbyists. They wine and dine every relevant staffer, bureaucrat, increasingly resource departments see themselves just as an arm of the industry. There is a revolving door of people who work in the bureaucracy one day, resource industry the next. So the big company, it's big company enterprise basically running the country. This is what we got to stop and go back to democracy. Nothing wrong with democracy, it's the people running the show. We don't even know about until now, until this point in time. As I said, I've travelled 25 years for this moment and this point in time, and I think the timing's right, and timing is everything. I'm with you guys. I'm fighting for you guys. I'm passionate about it. Now, you guys be passionate about it. Up in arms. We should be up in arms about this. A call arms. Let's do it. All right, back to this. And it is largely unregulated. Funny about that, isn't it? Well, not so funny if it wasn't so serious. Now, we're tracing the history of it all. D. Lolo says the history of all various lobbyist regulation can be traced back to Western Australia and disgraced former Labor Premier Brian Burke. It was in the time of the Gallop government, and the motivating idea was how they would stop Brian Burke from lobbying. So they came up with a scheme to stop Burke, but it didn't have at its heart a pure public policy principle. There should be one national scheme designed in a way that is transparent, about the way the entire government exposed sector deals with government. What we have now does not very, 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 very little effect on things. Indeed, the existing registers are more intriguing than informative, as Mike Dub, Professor of Health Policy at Curtin University, attests. I want all these guys that I've been reading out that have been crusading for the general public. Well, I don't care how long you've been going, 20 years, 30 years. Come forward and email me. princehepstodd33@gmail.com. You know, we've got to start getting the act together and go against these bad people. I know they've got power. I've got power too. And I'll use it. For the good, the greatness of good, or the good of great. Let's put the terror into these people and make Australia terrific again. We need Australia to be made terrific for future generations. Get these clowns out and their shenanigans. Throw them out. Kick them on their arse. Back to where this is again. There should be one national scheme designed in a way transparent. Yep. Indeed, the existing registers are more intriguing. Yep. And that's from Mike Dub, Professor of Health Policy at Curtin University. He attests it. He became interested while seeking information on the lobbying representatives of tobacco, alcohol and gambling interests. Wow. All major addictions. Ah, dear. Gambling interests, and would wound up making a submission to the parliamentary inquiry a couple of years ago. It was a waste of time, he says. It was a 10-minute job. The conclusion seemed predetermined. It was all premeditated. His trawling of various registers showed all sorts of odd relationships. Lobbyists owned by other lobbyists, lobbyists who lobby on behalf of other lobbyists, lobbyists who are subsidiaries of corporate consulting or advertising firms, but who did not, because they are not required to list the clients of those related firms. Lobbyists who represent clients with apparently conflicting interests, such as welfare agencies and booze companies. What they mostly don't show through was important information about the scale of the lobbying effort, a record of meetings, the historical record. So even if you were lobbying a month ago but aren't now, it doesn't show. Oh, let's all cover our asses. New South Wales, largely as a result of the work of the State's Independent Commission Against Corruption, now provides some detail on ministerial meetings with Evershed. Piss them off. ICAC doesn't work. They all don't work. I think they've all been corrupted. As I said, money's been passed around like friggin' lollies, I tell you, and people are falling over themselves for it. Root of all evil, money, root of all evil. Be comfortable? Yes. Have a comfortable life. Have a house. Have your wife. Have your kids. Have a car. Have 2 cars. You can have a house, but what's the point in having 10 houses? Just have another house. This is a little nest egg, you know, an investment for you, for your retirement. But, there's no need for 10, 20 houses. Negative gearing's another thing. It's got to go. Anyway. Okay, particular for lobbying the... this is interesting, yes. I'm not against lobbyists, Dub says. Hope that's the right pronunciation. They have been around forever. Moses was probably lobbied to get 1 or 2 of the 10 commandments dropped. But I do think there should be a much greater transparency, particularly for lobbying by commercial interest, and even more particularly for those promoting harmful products. There should be one national register. We should not be fobbed off with processes and registers that are close to meaningless. Jeffrey Watson SC, whose work as counsel assisting ICAC, has given him a close understanding of the way the business works, and it's much harsher. He sees the very word lobbyist as an euphemism. In many cases for scumbag, crook. He's actually calling them scumbags and crook. Jeffrey Watson is the SC. Why isn't something being done about this? Why is so much shit covered up? And this is in your face. I'll tell you what, as I said, a vote for me will push things along greatly, very, 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 very fast to get these bad people. Chuck them out of that basket. One rotten apple, you know what it does? It rottens the other ones. You've got to get rid of it before the other apples get rotten. And that's in simple terms. We seem to have thought the registration of lobbyists was one step to making them as acceptable part of the process, like registering travel agencies to give them a specialist credibility. But all you have to do to become a lobbyist is fill out a form. There's no ethical check. We make a mistake in thinking lobbyists are an acceptable part of our democratic process. How wrong we are. The reality of their operation is that they are an integral to the money go around of the electoral funding system based on the offensive notion, Watson says, that there is an implied freedom under our constitution that extends to allowing wealthy people to use their money to buy access. But finding a solution is hard. In New South Wales, they've introduced some processes, but what if you, the minister, being lobbied, don't put it in your diary or put it in your notes? There's no real way of knowing when one of these people is at someone's 40th birthday party, if he's lobbying or just having a good time. Watson, like Rhiannon, like many others, has come to the conclusion that what is needed is just closer regulation of lobbyists, including in-house lobbyists, but electoral funding reform to severely limit political donations and the establishment at a federal level and equivalent to ICAC. What we need is the whole system needs an overhaul, and we need new people in it. There's too many, like, they're not all, there's bad and good in everything. And we've just got to get rid of the bad and have the good again. And once we get the good in power again, we can put out the good people in. And they'll get rid of the bad people. As I said, email me with all the bad stuff happening. And I don't mean Johnny stealing a block of chocolate down the local shop. I mean all bad things. And everyone, there's the protection rackets, the laundering the money. The whole lot of it. Email me so we can get to the bottom of it. I'm ready. Are you ready? I am. Okay, so the Conservative parties are resistant to each of these reforms. The Greens support both. Labor supports limited campaign finance reform. Labor is split on a federal ICAC. Shadow Attorney General Mark Dreyfus. All these, it's all new faces again. So we got to go after the new faces. That's why nothing changes, the faces change. Is apparently keen. Shadow Special Minister for the State, Gary Gray. We've got to get hold of these people, or these people email me. For Christ's sake, email me. Who worked as a lobbyist after his stint, so that's Gary Gray. I like the Gray family, they're a nice family. Who worked as a lobbyist after his stint as Federal Director of the Labor Party and before his entry to Parliament is opposed. Heaven knows why, particularly given Labor looks these days so much like the Me Too party, too timid to boldly make a difference itself from the Conservative government. We can only assume someone is lobbying hard against it. And then this article was first published in print edition of the Saturday paper on the 4th with the coalition's twin. But they've both got, the thing is, they've both got lobby firms. I hope you take note in all this. I am here to make a difference. I am here for you guys. I'm passionate about it. And by the way, that's the first time I've read that. All I did was copy and paste and I printed out, and that's the first time I've read it. Now, if yous aren't pissed off, I'm pissed off. So it's time. And timing is everything. And we've just got to move forward and keep moving forward in leaps and bounds and get these bad bastards and get Australia on track again. Go back to our original constitution, I think it was 1901. Deakin wasn't too bad, but I noticed Deakin had a little bit of a hiccup too. But we've got to keep away from temptation. And these people, they've fallen for the devil's temptation. And money. Money, the root of all evil. So, anyway, I've said what I wanted to say. This is my own thoughts. It's not through any political party. This is on my own terms. And this is who I am. I'm a truth seeker. And I just like to get it out of the people and talk amongst the people. Now, if I said this to a few people on the street, they all come back to me pissed off. And yeah, Todd, I'll vote for you. And everyone on the street is coming back saying, yes, Todd, I'll vote for you. Now, that's what I'm getting on the street. Because as I said, I walk around a fair bit. And the last 25 years, people know me. Let's face it, due sure that surname, it's going to be in your mind somewhere. Okay, let's go forward. God bless and amen.